The semi-final between Argentina and England began to be played long before the opening whistle. The history, the rivalry, and the enormous pressure surrounding both national teams turned the build-up into the perfect setting for strong opinions. And one of the voices that generated the most attention was Gary Neville's. The former England defender analyzed the matchup with the confidence of someone who believes England has enough weapons to hurt the world champions, although he also acknowledged one characteristic of Argentina that is impossible to ignore: its ability to survive when it appears to be on the verge of defeat. Neville did not choose a diplomatic approach. Instead of simply praising Argentina's quality or speaking about the respect Lionel Messi commands, he pointed directly to what he considers the most vulnerable area of Lionel Scaloni's team: the defense. His analysis focused especially on Cristian Romero and Lisandro Martinez, a center-back pairing that, in his view, can dominate a match for long stretches and, at the same time, make unexpected mistakes capable of changing everything. You have Cristian Romero and Lisandro Martinez, and it seems as though, between the two of them, they gift away a goal in every match. Then you watch them again, and suddenly they are scoring goals, winning every header, and appearing everywhere. Something happens to them when they put on that shirt. It is incredible. I call them the best-worst center-back pairing in the world because, at times, they are absolutely extraordinary. And then, in the very next moment, they go from the sublime to the ridiculous. The statement clearly summarizes what Neville thinks about the two Argentine defenders. He is not saying they are bad players. In fact, the idea works precisely because it recognizes their enormous quality. Romero and Martinez can impose themselves in duels, anticipate plays, build from the back under pressure, defend far away from their goal, and transmit a competitive aggression that spreads to the rest of the team. But Neville believes that intensity also leads them to live permanently on the edge, and that England must be prepared to take advantage of any overconfidence, rushed decision to step forward, or space that appears behind them. The former Manchester United player went even further when expressing his confidence in England's attacking power. "I do not see any way we fail to score at least 2 goals against them," he said in the build-up. It was not merely a provocation. In Neville's view, England arrives at this semi-final with players capable of attacking in different ways. It can build through possession, accelerate with its wide players, look for Harry Kane between the center backs, or take advantage of Jude Bellingham's runs from a deeper position. Since the beginning of the tournament, Neville has been highlighting the collective strength of the English team. After the opening match against Croatia, he said that England had produced, during a stretch of the second half, some of the best minutes of soccer seen at the World Cup. He also praised Thomas Tuchel's courage to make changes to the team and take risks from the bench. That assessment helps explain why he is now speaking with so much confidence ahead of the match against Argentina. He does not see England as a national team that should sit back and resist. He sees it as a team that has an obligation to attack. In that context, Harry Kane emerges as a central figure. During the tournament, Neville described him as the only English player who, in his opinion, unquestionably belongs in the world-class category. His assessment is not limited to goals. Kane can drop deeper, link up with teammates, drag defenders out of position, and create space for those arriving from behind. Against an Argentine defense that often pushes high up the field, that movement could become one of England's main weapons. Jude Bellingham represents the other great source of hope. Neville called him a superstar and highlighted the natural way in which he seems to embrace the biggest matches. For the former defender, Bellingham does not need to hide from pressure. He seeks it out. That personality will be crucial in a match unlike any other, not only because it is a World Cup semifinal, but also because of everything an Argentina-England clash represents in the soccer memory of both countries. However, Neville also knows that analyzing Argentina exclusively through its mistakes would be a mistake in itself. Days before the semi-final was confirmed, he had already warned that Scaloni's team was pushing its luck too far. He pointed out that conceding 2 goals in knockout matches forces a team to come from behind again and again, something no team can sustain indefinitely. If you gift away 2 goals in knockout matches, you are playing with fire. You have to score 3 every time, the Englishman had warned. His diagnosis was blunt. At several points during the tournament, Argentina had not been playing well enough. But he immediately added the factor that makes the Argentine team so dangerous. Neville acknowledged that it is a team with a spirit that is extremely difficult to defeat, a national team that does not give up even when the flow of the match appears to have left it without answers. This team has a spirit that is very difficult to defeat. It does not give up, he said. That contradiction runs through his entire analysis. Argentina can give up opportunities, leave itself exposed, and play below its best level, but it never emotionally checks out of a match. That is precisely what England will have to manage. Scoring first will not be enough. Playing better for an hour will not guarantee anything either. Neville understands that Argentina has built an identity in which suffering does not necessarily destroy the team. Many times it makes the team stronger. When the match becomes chaotic, when the physical clashes begin, and when the opponent believes it already has control, Scaloni's team often finds new energy. Lionel Messi's presence adds another dimension. Although Neville's main focus was on Argentina's defense, England knows that any mistake near its own penalty area could prove decisive. Messi no longer needs to dominate all 90 minutes to decide a knockout match. He can do it with a pass, a set piece, or a play in which he draws several opponents toward him and frees up a teammate. England's task will not simply be to stop him individually, but to prevent the match from being played at the tempo that suits him best. For Neville, the key appears to be forcing Argentina to run back toward its own goal. Romero and Martinez are comfortable when they can anticipate and attack the ball. The problem arises when they have to retreat into open space, decide whether to step forward or hold their position, and control simultaneous movements from Kane, Bellingham, and the wingers. England will try to create precisely that kind of uncertainty. It will not look only for direct attacks, but also for positional changes that force Argentina's defense to make quick decisions. There is also an emotional battle. The Argentine defenders turn every duel into a personal contest, and Neville knows that type of player perfectly well. During his career, he was part of teams that competed with a similar level of intensity. That is why his criticism is not simply an insult. In a way, it also contains admiration. When he says Romero and Martinez go from the sublime to the ridiculous, he is describing two players who approach every action with such extreme conviction that they can become heroes or be left exposed within a matter of seconds. England will have to avoid entering that territory without control. If the match becomes filled with stoppages, arguments, and provocations, Argentina could feel more comfortable. The English team needs to maintain clarity, especially if the score remains level. Neville is confident that his team will have opportunities, but a semi-final can punish anyone who confuses confidence with anxiety. The former defender does not ignore the weight of history either. Argentina and England are not playing an ordinary World Cup match. Memories of 1986, 1998, and 2002 inevitably appear in the build-up, even though the current players did not experience many of those episodes on the field. Every generation inherits some of that tension. For England, winning would mean returning to a final after eliminating one of its most symbolic rivals. For Argentina, it would mean defending its crown against a European powerhouse and once again moving within one victory of the title. Neville's comments achieved their objective. They raised the temperature surrounding the match. In Argentina, they were interpreted as a provocative criticism of two of the team's defensive leaders. In England, they reinforced the idea that there are real reasons to believe. And both interpretations are probably correct. Neville wanted to identify a weakness, but in doing so, he also acknowledged the enormous impact of Romero and Martinez. People are not talking about them because they are irrelevant. They are talking about them because they can decide the semifinal in either penalty area. His implicit prediction is clear. England must attack, press, and trust that it will be able to create enough chances to score more than once. It cannot play intimidated by Argentina's shirt or allow Messi to control the tempo, but it also cannot believe the match will be won simply by identifying defensive flaws. Argentina has shown that it can make serious mistakes and remain standing. That is why the description of them as the best-worst center-back pairing in the world carries so much force. It is a criticism, a warning, and, at the same time, an acknowledgement. Romero and Martinez represent many of the contradictions within this Argentina team: intensity and disorder, courage and risk, the ability to suffer, and the need to take every match to the limit. Neville believes England can hurt them. He is convinced that his national team will score and that it has enough attacking resources. But his own words also reveal what should concern the English team most. Argentina can look vulnerable, concede chances, and find itself on the verge of elimination. However, when Argentina pulls on the sky blue and white shirt and the match reaches its most extreme point, something changes, and that is the real question surrounding the semifinal. Will England be able to capitalize on the moments when Argentina goes from the sublime to the ridiculous? Or will Romero, Martinez, Messi, and the rest of the team once again transform a night of suffering into another display of character? Gary Neville has already given his answer from a position of English confidence. Now it will be up to the players to prove on the field whether his analysis was accurate or whether his words ended up awakening the most dangerous possible opponent.